Hey, this is Mr. Coker with Geometry Lesson 2.5, Triangle Congruency Postulates. And that's a mouthful, but let me explain what each word means. Triangle, well, you know what triangle means. Of course, that's what we're talking about, or solely about triangles. And congruency means two, in this case, triangles, but it could be any two objects that have the same size and shape. Two things that are the same, exactly the same. In this case, we're talking about triangles that are exactly the same. We can also refer to sides and angles, which are exactly the same. And postulates, it's kind of just means rules. I'm going to go over the 5 postulates, or rules, which prove triangle congruency. So the first one, by the way, before I get started, I'm going to be talking about two things, angles and sides. If you look over here, you'll see HL. That does not obviously have angles and sides, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. And I will put all of the full names in the description so that you can look at it without just having to write it down if you need to remember them. So the first one is ASA, which stands for angle, side, angle. And here I have two triangles which are congruent, meaning that they're the same size and shape. And in this case they are congruent because they have an angle, a side, and an angle which are congruent. So these two angles are congruent. They're marked, if you look, they're marked with one mark on them to show that each one is the same. They're congruent. The next side is also marked. So the next side is marked to show congruency. And the next angle is marked. 2 notches this time to show congruency, or 2 marks. That means it's angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. The order matters on this. So the next one is SAS, side, angle, side. Again, order matters. We have in both cases, we have a congruent side. The next angle is congruent, and the next side is also congruent. So we have a side, then an angle, and then another side. Order matters. The next one is SSS, side, side, side. This is the easiest one to notice. What do we not have here? Angles on this one. We don't have any angles marked. However, we have side, side, side. All the sides are marked as congruent, which means that's a definition of a congruent triangles. All 3 sides are the same. They also have the same shape, of course. So it's side, 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 congruency. The next one, AAS, which stands for angle, angle, side. This is where most people, most students I've noticed in the past, get confused over ASA and AAS telling the difference, which is understandable because both consist of 2 angles and 1 side. But remember, the order matters. Order matters. So we have angle, the next angle. Notice it goes from one angle to another, and then the next side. Compare it to ASA, the side, just like the S is in between the 2 A's, the side that's marked is in between 2 angles. With AAS, side is at the end of the 2 angles, so it's angle, angle, then a side. And on the triangle, there's an angle, followed by an angle, followed by a side. That's how you know it's AAS and not ASA. And the last one, HL. Well, with all our similarity postulates and with the first four congruency postulates, we had A's and S's for angles and sides. Easy to remember. HL, however, it stands for hypotenuse leg. And it only works with right triangles. Hypotenuse leg does deal with angles and sides though. And let me explain. So, in both cases, in both these triangles, we have this mark to show a right triangle. 90-degree angle, it's a right triangle. A right triangle always has a hypotenuse, meaning the hypotenuse is the side opposite the right triangle. I'll talk about this more when we get into the trig functions and rules of right triangles. So, in this case, we know we have an angle that's 90 degrees. That's the angle on this one. And then we have HL. H is hypotenuse again. It means that our hypotenuses are the same. L is leg, so hypotenuse leg. The leg, it means that we have one leg is the same. So the legs are the two sides which are not the hypotenuse. A right triangle has two legs and one hypotenuse. The legs are the ones that come out with the right angle. So like here's our right angle, and the two sides which are connected to it are the legs. The side not connected is the hypotenuse. This is important to note because if this was not a right triangle, we would have an angle, a side, and a side, which is not one of our postulates. However, if it's a right triangle, it is a postulate, so it is congruent. The reason for this is because a right triangle, there's something called the Pythagorean theorem, which we'll talk about later in a later video. And it says that one leg, the length of one of our legs squared plus the other leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So if one leg and one hypotenuse are the same, or one leg and the hypotenuse are the same, by definition, because of the Pythagorean theorem, the other side also has to be the same. It has to be, which would qualify as side, side. So that's why hypotenuse leg works, even though it's a little bit different from the others. So that's pretty much all I have on the 5 congruency postulates. One more thing. If you have a triangle, 2 triangles, and you're asked, are these congruent? These postulates are you have to check for one of these 5. If you look and you don't see it doesn't qualify under any of these 5 postulates, it is not congruent. I'm going to erase this in the middle. I'm going to say I'm going to use this as an example. Here we have an angle. We have a side, we have another side. Angle, side, side. If we were asked, are these 2 congruent, we would say no. Why? It doesn't qualify under, there's no ASA. There's one angle and 2 sides, so it can't be ASA and it can't be AAS. It's not a right triangle. It can't be HL. There are only two sides, not three, so it cannot be SSS. And the last of the five postulates, SAS, has two sides of an angle, but it has to be side, angle, and then a side. Order matters. So you're going to always need, not only do you need three pieces of information, you need the appropriate three pieces of information. If you don't have it, you're going to have not congruent. However, always check. You need three pieces of information. By the way, with HL, it can be a right angle is one of your pieces of information, and then the leg and hypotenuse. So always you need three pieces of information between both triangles, and they need to qualify under one of the five postulates in order to be congruent. So, thanks for watching.